Welcome back to another episode of Breaking Barriers. I'm your host, Eric Payne. Thank you for watching. So we're going to get down to the program. I talked a little bit about it last night, but I want to talk a little bit about the gentleman that helped me. Uh, I did reach out. I did get permission to use his name uh, to tell people a little bit about him. He was 21 years old. His name at the time of his crime, he was 21 years old. His name is John Beck. He is 63 now, I think. He has been in prison since he was 21. I'll let you do the math for murder. He does go up every year for parole, but that is the man that helped me become a better version of me. Um, and not just me, he is still in there, even though he gets denied parole every year, he's still in there mentoring young men like myself uh, to be able to reach out and find a better version of themselves. Uh, so that's who that gentleman is. I'll put his name and his uh, number, which is his DOC number, in the description of the video. Um, if you want to look him up, but he's got a great story to tell. I can't wait to be able to do an interview with him. So when you're in prison and you first arrive, me, was nervous, terrified, didn't know what was going to happen, didn't know what to think. I didn't know anything. So I get to my pod that they're going to put me in, and they do this thing that's called a heart check. And a heart check is to find out you'll be tested, and not a written test. It's a physical test, to find out that if you are going to be one that fights back, or if you're going to be one that lays down like a little bitch, and that's what you'll be for the remainder of your time. So I had my heart check. I fought back. It was interesting. But I earned respect from the other people there my first night. Um, but I was so nervous. I didn't really know what to think. So as time goes on, I have to defend myself a couple times, and word got around that I was pretty good at handling business, and so I got a job. I was a money man. I collected money, and so on store day, if you borrowed money from the box, which is called the store, you had to pay it back with a tax. So like it was, if you got 2 items from the store, you had to pay back 3. Um, so I'd get a list of people who owed and how much they owed. It didn't matter which items they gave me back; it just had to equal the amount or better. So I did that, and that's where I learned. I really learned how to be a criminal, um, and how to actually be a bad guy. So years go on. That's what I'm doing. I'm working. Sometimes I had to get it the hard way, uh, but other times, I became a well-respected individual amongst the inmates. And then, lo and behold, I'll get to that in a second. So while you're in prison, you have the opportunity to go to school to learn something. So I went to school to learn electrical and plumbing. So I am certified in electrical and plumbing. I graduated the class. Took me 2 years, but it helps buy time. So after I graduate, I'm doing my thing. I'm comfortable. I have a routine. That's a main part. If you ever get locked up, is get into your own routine. I didn't really conversate with a lot of people, just because I was there to do my time and not anybody else's. The whole thing about if you go to prison, you have to join a gang. No, that's at least on the East Coast, that's not a thing. Uh, I was there just doing my time, um, and That was it. So, but the people that I worked for, they sort of took me in under their own, as their own. So I didn't really have to worry about any of that. But then I get put in this program. Okay, this program is designed to make you hold yourself accountable for your actions. And man, that's probably the toughest pill I had to swallow. So I'm in this program for like 2 years, and the day comes, I graduate the program, and I get out. So the feeling of being incarcerated for 6 years to getting out is very overwhelming. Life's changed. We didn't have smartphones when I got locked up. We had the brick still. So that was a big change. My own mom had to teach me how to use it. And but when you get out, I was already prepared. John Beck had been preparing me, even though he had never gotten out, but he had seen people leave and then come back because they try to pick up where they left off. I'm sorry, but when you go to prison, your time stops. You're done. Especially if you don't have anybody to come see you. So I had a son, I had a daughter. I still talk to my son. I love him. I know that I don't really hold that real tight spot in his heart like his mom or even his stepdad, but I'm okay with it. I know I was there. I was gone for 6 years. Uh, my daughter, I haven't had any real contact. I've gotten a message from her one time, but it's okay. It's life moves on. I can't dwell on the past. So here I am. I'm out. I come to Oklahoma, and I stay out on the farm for like a week. I never left. Just trying to get into a routine there. And then my dad takes me up to an oil field company. And at the time, I was a pretty big guy because when you're in prison, you have nothing to do but read, eat, work out, go to school. That's about how I was. And I go up to this company, and the guy says that they weren't hiring. But I talked to him. I pitched myself, and the actual owner, walks over and he goes, "Well, you're a pretty big boy. It doesn't look like you're afraid of any hard work." And I said, "I'm not." And so that was my first step. Was I had to convince somebody to give me a shot. Because when you look at me, when I got out, shaved head, I'm tatted up, I'm big, I don't really smile. But they gave me that shot, and I took it and I ran with it. But that was the first step to me holding myself accountable and pushing to make sure that people realized that I was actually there to do good and not do harm. So I worked through the oil field for a couple years. That company, oil field crashed. I switched to a different company, doing something a little different, but I still made it. It's called making a hand. And so I worked for that company. Well, my wife and I got the idea, hey, what if we started we created our own business and went into business for ourselves. So we took all of our money that we had saved, and we bought a semi truck, one. And that's where the trucking business took off. And I took off like a bat out of hell, driving nationwide. It used to scare her to death because I'd stop and sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning, and at 5 o'clock, or I'd stop and sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning. At 5 o'clock in the morning, I was up in the driver's seat and taking off again because I'd already booked myself a load. And so we did that. We built the business up, and then finally I got tired. COVID wore me out because you couldn't go in and eat. You couldn't go in and take a shower. You had to wear a stupid mask. And so when I finally made it home, I told my wife, I said, hey, I don't really want to drive anymore. I'm wore out. So we hired 2 guys to drive our trucks, and they did great. And then we had breakdowns happen, and we just got overwhelmed with it and sold the company out. So I left there and I went to work for a friend of mine. That's what it was. I went to work for a friend of mine, still in the doing oil field stuff, but I was driving a semi. I did that for a little bit, um, and then I took a job uh, as an for an asphalt company up in Kansas City, and I made a really good amount of money doing that because I was a boss. I was an operator, so I got paid top notch, and so we were able to pay off a bunch of our debt from our credit cards from the trucking company. Running a business is not easy. It's 100% hard work 100% of the time. There is no easy street. Um, so then, let's see, I came off the road finally. My wife and I, we had been together for 4 years, I think. And I wanted a home life. I wanted to be able to sit back and relax and have a schedule. So I went to sell cars, which is what I'm doing now. We saved up a lot of money. An opportunity came to where we could pick up a set of duplexes for really cheap. And so I didn't have all the money to be able to buy it outright. So the guy did a quick claim deed, which he owned them outright. So he sold them to us, but he deeded it to us first. And then I took the deed to the bank and got a loan. And that's how we acquired the duplex. Well, then the hard work came. We had to we remodeled the whole thing except for one side because somebody was living in it at the time. But the point of this session here today is no matter how good you think you are, always keep pushing to find the better version of you. So it doesn't matter how rich you are or how good you think life is. Don't put it on cruise control because eventually the motor starts lagging in that engine and you start slowing down. Always push forward. There's a bigger and brighter future to everything, no matter what position you are in life. Like, had I gone to prison and not fought during the heart check to show people that I was a fighter and not some little bitch, I would have just quit and I would have been a bitch for 6 years, no matter how I tried to fix it. So first impressions, always give it your best, but never put it on cruise control. That's the biggest part of the advice that I can give you when it comes to dealing with life in general. Things happen, shit happens, you're going to miss things, but in the long run, if you have your goal set on something and you reach that goal, how good does that actually feel? But that's all I have for you tonight, guys. If you're not following me on Facebook, go find me on Facebook, hit that follow button. I greatly appreciate it if you subscribe and like this video. It helps me get my content out there because I know somebody out there is feeling down on themselves, and these videos are to pick them up and to show them that no matter what your situation is in life, you can progress and be something great. Anybody can be something great as long as you have the stability and the mindset and the control. That's all it is, guys. I love you. I hope you're having a great day. Stay safe out there. If you need anything, call me, shoot me a message. I'm not hard to find. Love you guys. Have a great night.